When you meet someone for the first time, you'll start by saying Hajimemashite, 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 which literally means it's the first time, so you're just acknowledging that fact. Make sure you've never seen that person before, because a friend of mine met a girl in a club and fate made them meet again as he started his first day in a new job. Apparently her makeup was so different that he didn't recognize her, so when he said Hajimemashite, she got upset. So there is a second way to express nice to meet you in Japanese, which is Douzo yoroshiku onegai shimasu. どうぞよろしくお願いします。どうぞよろしくお願いします。どうぞよろしくお願いします。どうぞ could be translated to please. Now, yoroshiku is a bit of a magical phrase that has several meanings. In this case, it means something like take good care of me. Here, the E sound can be devocalized, so yoroshiku becomes yoroshiku. Incidentally, yoroshi means good. Yoroshii desu ka means is it good in a very polite way. Yoroshii desu ka? Yoroshii desu ka? Yoroshii desu ka? Onegai shimasu is another way to say please. Onegai literally means a request or a favor, and shimasu is from the verb suru, which means to do or to make. If you really need to distinguish dozo and onegai shimasu, dozo is like please go ahead, as in kochira dozo, this way please, or hai dozo, here please take this. Whereas onegai shimasu is more please, in the sense would you please do that for me? Sometimes it can even mean I'm begging you, onegai dakara. Okay, so now that you've remembered this sentence, dozo yoroshiku onegai shimasu, keep in mind that it's used in very formal exchanges. And if you want to be even more polite, you may replace shimasu by itashimasu. Itashimasu, so yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. And since onegai and itashimasu respectively end and start with the same vowel, they're going to merge. Onegai itashimasu, onegai itashimasu becomes onegai itashimasu. But this is very polite and perhaps too polite in most contexts. So I would use this level of politeness when I deal with Japanese clients or VIPs. So that was the hard part. Now in a slightly less formal context, you could skip the dozo and simply say yoroshiku onegai shimasu, yoroshiku onegai shimasu, yoroshiku onegai shimasu. This is actually the most common way to use the phrase. If you're an American tourist and you're hired Japanese guide, or if you start taking lessons, you could say that to your teacher. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. So I said that you could get rid of dozo to make yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Well, you could also get rid of onegai shimasu, which makes dozo yoroshiku, dozo yoroshiku, dozo yoroshiku, dozo yoroshiku. Now just keep in mind that the longer it is, the more polite it's going to be. But in a neutral context, you could definitely use dozo yoroshiku. Alright, now in a casual setting, you could only keep yoroshiku, yoroshiku, yoroshiku. And if you meet someone who's clearly younger than you and you feel like you're gonna like, you could add a little ne at the end to add a little complicity. Yoroshiku ne, yoroshiku ne, yoroshiku ne. So as I mentioned, the shorter it is, the more casual it's gonna sound. So let's review all the expressions we learned. Douzo yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. Douzo yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Douzo yoroshiku, yoroshiku, yoroshiku ne. I know it's a lot to process, and if you had to only pick one, I would say you can't go wrong with the standard neutral yoroshiku onegai shimasu, which is still polite. Now, what to reply if the other person says it first? Or you could simply say yoroshiku onegai shimasu. But one thing that's very important to keep in mind is that you don't always repeat what the other person says. Always ask yourself, where are you in the hierarchy? If your boss, who's much older than you, says yoroshiku ne, you can't repeat yoroshiku ne. You'll have to show respect and say douzo yoroshiku onegai shimasu or yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Now, if you absolutely want to have a reply version after someone said it to you, you could say kochira koso yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Kochira koso yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Kochira literally means this side, where I am. So my side. And it's a polite way to talk about yourself. Koso is a bit difficult to literally translate, but in this context it means me too. Now, yoroshiku onegai shimasu usually starts a relationship, so you'll use it in most common interactions. But what if you finally meet your favorite celebrity? You could say, oai dekite koei desu. Oai dekite koei desu. Oai dekite koei desu. The first word starts with o, which is the same as in onegai, we just saw, the honorific prefix. Ai comes from the verb au, which means to meet. Dekite means to be able. Koe means honor. And here you have to be careful because it's two long vowels. It's not kouei or koe, which means voice. It's koe, koe desu. Desu, here we could translate it to it is. So literally, it is an honor to be able to meet, implying you. Another expression is aete ureshii desu. Aete ureshii desu. Aete ureshii desu. Aete ureshii desu. Aete is the same as oai dekite. It's slightly less formal. Ureshii means to be happy. 嬉しい. And again, we have です. So literally, the entire sentence means happy to have been able to meet. By now, you should have probably noticed that we didn't literally use me and you. That's because when the subject of a sentence is obvious, we could get rid of it. And it's not very polite to directly say you in this context. When you're saying nice to meet you, it's pretty obvious what's happening. So let's now recap the main phrases we studied to say nice to meet you. はじめまして。よろしくお願いします。お会いできて光栄です。会えて嬉しいです。Now, the order in which you'll use them is first, just like in English, you'll start by saying hello, konnichiwa, and then you'll acknowledge the fact that it's the first time you meet, hajimemashite. Then you'll say your name, which we'll study in a second, and you can end the introduction with よろしくお願いします or お会いできて光栄です. So in my case, I would say こんにちは、はじめまして、高秀です。よろしくお願いします. Thank you so much for watching this entire video. If you found this helpful, please let me know with a thumbs up or in the comments. And don't forget to share and subscribe for more content like this. じゃあまたね!